Welcome to a special midday interview with Mission Accomplished. I am super excited to introduce my next guest, absolute legend in combat sports. His name is Chris the Crippler Leben, and I'm going to bring him on now. What's going on, Mr. Leben?
What up, man? How you doing?
Dude, super honored to be able to talk to you today. Not to fanboy out on you at all, but you are an absolute legend, one of my favorite fighters of all time, and I appreciate you taking the time to come on here. I threw on the Navy Street sweatshirt.
I see that. Yeah, I got the apparel.
Nice. Yeah. This was a Christmas gift from a good friend of mine. I love the show, so it was very cool that you were on there. Pretty neat. So how's training going? What's going on, man? Pretty good?
Pretty good, man. We're officially 1 week out today, so just going to start beginning the taper, really focusing on the weight cut, but it's nice. I made it through camp. My body's relatively healthy, no injuries. A little bit run down from training hard, but that's to be expected, now it's just, lighter workouts, keep the cardio high, and get ready for next Friday.
I saw you training with the heavyweight champ there, Joey Beltran. How'd that go?
Joey's great, man. He's longtime training partner of mine. I think he's actually the first guy I trained with when I moved here to San Diego about 7 years ago or so. And then we were both at Alliance together for years, and we've helped each other out our last couple bare knuckle camps. So, having the opportunity to get in and work with him is great because, he's my opponent, but bigger, with a harder head, so it's perfect.
That's great. Yeah. Does he have a fight lined up anytime soon? Or I don't know, not to bring up his future, but
he's had, he's talking about, some stuff they've kind of thrown at him. He had a couple fights canceled before his last one, and now he's, nothing on the books yet, but I mean, he's the champ, so when you're the champ, usually you only fight, 2, maybe 3 times a year.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to BKFC Knucklemania, man. It's going to be a huge event, Super Bowl weekend. You got the new pretty face in the main event. You got a legend. Is this officially the retirement match?
It is.
100%.
It's the last one for me. Yep.
I know you got a lot going on with refereeing and whatnot, but I was wondering if, like a Vanderlei Silva or somebody like that was to say he wanted to come do a match with Chris Leben, you wouldn't take that one?
Well, you know what, man? Money talks. And I mean, obviously, they're if they throw enough money at me to make it worth me postponing my progress and my goals in life, then it would be something I would take into consideration. Ultimately, judging, reffing, coaching, these are things I can do for another 20, 30, 40 years.
Yep.
Still be part of combat sports, fighting is not, I could go a couple more years if I wanted to. I'm healthy. My body is okay, but I feel like, I've had a good run, man. I've done everything I want to do. It's time. Let's do one more. Let's go out with a bang. We got my opponent is he's a slugger. So gonna finish my career with an exciting fight.
Yeah, Quentin Hero Henry. He's a beast. That kid. He's definitely transformed his last few fights. He's really developed into something pretty special. So it's a very formidable opponent for your final fight for sure. That should be exciting.
I'm excited.
How about the refereeing? Like how much reffing have you done so far? How many matches have you done? How many fights have you refereed so far?
Couple hundred, at least. I have all the paperwork here somewhere in the house, but I've been working for Camo now for 4 years or so, and it seems like every maybe 1 or 2, sometimes 3 weekends a month, I'm somewhere in California, reffing 4, 5, 6 amateur fights on a card. So do the math, it's I've definitely got a decent amount of repping and judging under my belt.
Now, how many fights do you have to have under your belt as a referee to like make it to like a UFC or a Bellator or one of those big ones? You gotta have like 1,000.
It's kind of interesting, they really want you to have, a bare minimum, at least 100, which I definitely have. I don't know if that's written anywhere or that's just what people say. But the way it works out here in California, is, CSAC, they have me on their radar, and I'm hoping that they reach out to me. But, if you get on the website, there is no application process to be a professional referee. They call you, you don't call them.
And when you get licensed as a referee, is that all you need to become a judge too, or do you have to go through a certain training for that as well?
So to be a referee, you as well have to be certified as a judge. To be a judge, you do not have to be certified as a referee. And being that I work for CAMO, which is the amateur commission out here in California, we both referee and judge. So usually if I'm not repping the fight, I'm probably judging it.
Wow, that's cool, man. I wish they would have more former fighters as judges personally, because I mean, you didn't let it go to the judges very much in your career, but a lot of people nowadays are content to go into decision every time they go out there and they get robbed left and right. You know what I mean? It's usually a bad call.
You there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You back?
You hear me? Yeah, you hear me?
Uh-oh. I lost my audio.
Oh shit.
My alarm went off.
I can hear you. I hear you fine.
I'm trying to figure out why the volume is not working.
It's all right, Chris. Chris Leben here.
I don't have any volume.
Do you want to back out and come back in? Let me see. Let me text the man. Send you a text. All right. I just told him to back out, come back in. We got to talk to him. I got to talk to him about resilience. This guy, if you guys are not familiar with Chris, he is one of the greatest comeback fighters you'll ever see in mixed martial arts. Never, ever, ever count this man out of a fight, no matter what. Like literally, he will take shots like you wouldn't believe, and then he will flip the switch and then go straight into kill mode and finish a fight. He has so many examples of this throughout his career. And when he comes back up here, I want to talk to him about that, because being a military guy, and here he is right here. Awesome. All right. Welcome back, Chris.
Yeah. Sorry about that. My alarm went off and it kicked me off. So
not a problem. Things happen. The more I'm doing this show. So this show, I don't know if you like, this will only be the 18th episode I've ever done. I started this back on Veterans Day. I bring on a fighter and a combat vet usually every episode. So it's a learning process, and I'm learning that this kind of shit happens all the time. It's all right. Yeah. So being a military guy, I wanted to talk about you as a fighter and a person being one of the most resilient people I've ever seen in my life. Never count this guy out, no matter what. You have so many examples in your career, in the cage and outside the cage, in the ring, outside the ring, of like being down and coming back and battling through it. What is it about you that like you can never count this man out? Never. Especially like of course, everybody brings up the Yoshihiro fight. That's one of my favorite fights of all time. And what you did from the bottom in that fight was fucking brilliant. And the Otto Olsen fight, and like these Terry Martin, you took that shot in the last round, came back and like looked at him like, you motherfucker, and laid him down. What is it, man? You're like resilience personified for sure.
Well, thanks, man. Sounds like you did your homework too. I mean, quitting really isn't an option, and I don't want to sound cheesy, but whether you're talking about, in the fight or in life, quitting for me, just it's just not an option. If I get hit and I'm rocked, then there's this self-preservation instinct that kind of kicks in, and it's like, all right, we got to put our foot on the gas. I got to hurt this guy before he hurts me more, and it's a similar thing in life, when there comes a point when you go, fuck it, I got to do it, man. I just got to fucking keep putting one foot in front of the other. You get beat
Absolutely.
down, you get the stuff pile on your back, and a lot of people, they'll just quit or they'll give up. But for me, that really hasn't been an option. Especially, I've got a family and everything else now. I've got people that depend on me. Failure's just not an option. So if something doesn't work, I'm gonna try something else. And if I'm having a hard time with that, I'm just gonna keep grinding at it till eventually it'll work out.
Super wise words from a wise man, for real. In your life outside of the cage, you had run into, and like, I remember I watched like a documentary, and I apologize for not remembering what it was called, but it was about like you had the heart condition, and your girlfriend or fiance like started studying like herbal, like turmeric, and like all. She had like a tackle box full of shit to help you in this documentary, right? It was a documentary, or was it a show on you or something? But like, how is it possible that you made that turnaround and got the all clear from the docs? Like,
Well, there's a few things. One, the body is an amazing thing. Cut out the drugs and alcohol, get out of the way, and the body will heal itself. The other thing is, I changed everything in my life. From who I hung out with, what I ate, where I lived, and ultimately, you know, I continue to go back into my cardiologist, and my scores on my echocardiogram got better and better to the point where finally she's like, most people plateau, but you just seem to keep getting better. I don't really understand it. And I said, well, is it good enough that you would let me fight? And she said, well, yeah, you can do anything a healthy adult can do.
wow.
And I credit that, and I like to point out to people that anybody can do it, particularly when it comes to a lot of these Western diseases, heart disease, for example, diabetes, these sort of things. In my case, it was heart disease and heart failure. Um, it was lifestyle choices that caused that,
Yeah,
and
just
and
damaging the body,
and
like outside the ring, right? Not
that's
so much, not so much the damage in the ring. It was
I
outside the ring.
think both, man. I think it was both. I think, you can't burn the candle from both ends. I was running hot all the time. Like I was going in the gym, training hard for hours and hours. Then I was going out and drinking and partying, on a nightly basis. And I did that for years. Had a lot of fun, but ultimately my body paid the price.
Yeah,
And, I realized I had to tap the brakes, and if I want to do now, if anybody gets on my Instagram or follows me on social media, they can see that, um, although I'm still competing and I'm hitting the gas hard in that avenue, I do a ton of stuff now to take care of my body, where before I didn't at all.
yeah,
In my 20s, you couldn't have told me that I was sick or I wasn't healthy. I felt healthy. I looked healthy. I didn't know anything was going on. I was still able to train hard, and now I know, though. Now I do, all sorts of things to, to help maintain my body, to rehabilitate, to heal these injuries, safely and healthy, and ultimately in my case, it's paid off.
yeah. Guy watching Ben Field says, what do you think if you would have taken this approach earlier in your career? World, would it have been different?
Coulda, woulda, shoulda, man. I
Yeah,
don't know.
who knows?
You were just talking, about how, there was something about me in my 20s and being reckless, that not giving a fuck when I stepped in the cage, whether I died, whether I got hurt, I really didn't care. And I think that came out in my fighting style, to some extent. So would I change it? I don't think I would, because I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in today, and
Yeah.
not just my career. Maybe my career suffered, maybe it didn't. I don't know. But if it did, ultimately, after this fight, I'm going to step into the arena as a coach,
Okay.
and mentor, and when it comes to that, at least I'll have some ammunition where I can say, hey, look, I've been there. I've done that. I've made mistakes, that you don't have to make, and, a lot of these kids, they listen to me, they might not listen to mom or dad, but tattooed Chris Leben that says fuck, and, has been through it, they listen, so I have that, and I have the ability to hopefully help other people.
That's great, man. Now, so you got the bare knuckle fight coming up. You have had a lot of success in bare knuckle. Is this something that like you could have saw yourself doing earlier in your career if bare knuckle was around, say 10 years ago? Because your style of fight, I mean, that shit is tailor made for Chris Leben. You know what I mean?
I got to agree with you, man. I remember when I first watched the sport, they had contacted me, BKFC, and I was like, I don't know. If I come back, I'm going to do MMA. And then I got on YouTube. This was maybe the first or second show that the BKFC had, and I got on YouTube, and I started watching it, and I was like, shit, this sport was made for me, man. And I instantly, fell in love with bare knuckle. I mean, no shortage of excitement, high speed, entertaining fights all the way through.
To be able to clinch up and strike in the clinch, like that's your thing, man. And like the Vanderlei Silva fight's a perfect example. Like
so
it's
it
beautiful.
really allows me to utilize a lot of the skills. I got a big head, I got big hands. If somebody wants to stand in front of me, most 99% of the time, that's a good bet for me to take. I'll stand there and make that trade. And like you said as well with the clinch, it is a really cool sport, and it's really cool to be part of it in its infancy, and 20, 30, 40 years from now, I can have my grandkids on my lap, and I can tell them, about fighting in the first bare knuckle when it was finally re-legalized after, 100 and something years.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And that's something that nobody's ever going to be able to take away.
Hell yeah. So how would you say like BKFC's how is the company itself like compared to UFC or WEC or any of the other companies that you work for? BKFC seems to be very squared away, and they're very young. They're young in their infancy right now, but they're entering their third year, and they seem to really got their shit together.
That's exactly it. Both Dave and Nate are straight up guys. They're honest. They're a pleasure to work with. I think the biggest issue the BKFC's had is just growing pains. I mean, literally, the sport is so exciting, and they've done such a good job marketing it that every show is bigger than the last show. They've got and I know this for certain, lists and lists and lists of fighters that are lined up to get in there. Guys that are calling them every day, hey, let me fight for you. Let me do this, trying to get all these guys fights. Now they've started the Toe the Line series. It's just trying. It's like a controlled explosion, the way that it's growing. And, I can only imagine where they're going to be in another year or five.
You know what it is too is like as a MMA fan and a BKFC fan or a bare knuckle fan, back go back a couple of years when you watch somebody leaving the UFC, you're like, oh, they're about to go sign with Bellator, they're about to go sign with One or something like that. Now I look at these fighters that are possibly going to be moving on to free agency with the UFC, and first thing I think of is BKFC. I'm like, yeah, they probably won't go to Bellator. They'll probably go bare knuckle. It seems like a better fit.
I think for a lot of athletes, it is a better fit. It is a better choice. And as BKFC grows, they can afford that higher and higher tier athlete. I mean, just like we've got Paige coming over, for this next one, and you're right. You're going to see more and more of that. You're going to see more and more of the elites from bare knuckle or Bellator making the transition to BKFC.
It's awesome. It's a good thing. I mean, I love seeing the progression. It's happening so fast too. I mean, bare knuckle is not a new sport. It's the oldest sport in the fucking world. Everybody, putting your bare hands up and fighting somebody has been happening since the gladiator days. It just happened to come back around in 2018. It's about goddamn time.
And that's why it's so cool. When did we forget? How people are looking at this like it's new. It's like, no, man, it's a fist fight. And that's what I always tell people. Sometimes watching these high level ground UFC guys, it can get a little boring. It really can. It's to understand high level jiu-jitsu would be like you had to play college ball to even know what's going on in the NBA.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody understands a fist fight. You go out, if there's a fist fight in front of a bar on the street, everybody turns and watches.
Yeah.
Everybody is interested in it. It gets everybody's attention. And I think that's also a reflection of why they're doing so well. I said before, I think if Dave Feldman's done a phenomenal job at marketing and promoting, but if he was promoting tennis, I don't know that it would have gotten as big as it has. I mean, literally, him just having the sight to see that bare knuckle needed to come back and getting that legal in some states, man, and then and being really the founder of that's like holding fire in a bottle.
It's incredible. I cannot got a hot product. Yeah, I can't wait to see where it is 2-3 years from now, because I really feel like it's creeping. Like, the state of traditional boxing is in trouble right now. It's starting to make its way a little bit back now, but for years it's been so corrupt and nobody gives a shit about boxing. MMA has been the thing, then boxing, but now this. And it's like, it's weird to say, but it looks like bare knuckle could creep up on boxing like any time now. You know what I mean?
I think so, and I think both boxing and mixed martial arts are a little bit scared about that fact. Ultimately, it comes down to if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And a lot of these MMA shows and everything else are giving bare knuckle a hard time, and you think, well, why are they doing that? Well, because people are spending their money on bare knuckle. That's why. I mean, listen, if you've got $30, if you got one pay-per-view you can buy in a month, there's a boxing card, a UFC card, and a bare knuckle card. The bare knuckle card is going to be a third the price, and for your value, you're going to get by far, in my opinion, the best product.
Yeah, bang for your buck for sure. And the UFC just hiked their price up to $70 a pay-per-view. I don't know if that was a Conor McGregor thing or if that was a forever thing, but that's fucking too much money.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but our ESPN Plus out here in California was having all sorts of problems. I was at a place with 25 people and no fight.
No, I think that's nationwide. The ESPN Plus platform has been pretty trashy so far. So I hope they move on from that and figure that shit out. Before I let you go, I thank you so much for coming on here, man. I bounced out of my job real quick, ran home.
I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, dude, I would, I shot my boss a message, said, I got some important shit going on at home. I got to run home. I'll come back right away. And he was like, no problem. Take care of your
Yeah.
Take care of yourself. If you don't mind, I just got a few fan questions that people sent in to me. They're pretty good ones. Can we do this? First one is from a fellow BKFC fighter. Drew Lipton says, "Is it true that you're so tough that you eat oranges without peeling them?"
I don't eat oranges at all right now.
Is that like a story about you or something? Did you do that? Or?
There's a lot of them, man. It might be. Usually, sometimes I use my teeth to peel it, but that's about it.
All right. Number 2. This comes from Lisa Vialba. She says, "You are such an animal, and you clearly love fighting. What is it about beating the shit out of someone that you love the most?"
It is therapeutic. I will say that. A lot of stress in life. I can't jump out of my car and beat up the driver that just cut me off. I can't. There's so many times when I have to control my natural instinct. It's nice to be able to get in the gym on a daily basis and smash some faces. I can tell you, here at home, a lot of times when I'm getting a little bit pent up, my old lady will look at me and she'll just be like, "Go to the fucking gym. Just go to the gym."
Go hit something.
Knows when I come back that stress level will be alleviated.
Yeah, that's fucking great. Yeah, somebody in the comments just says, "Kyle, you heard my road rage story." I was on the phone with somebody today, and they got cut off while they were driving, and he's like, "Fuck you, motherfucker!" And I'm like, "What's going on?" He goes, "I don't know. I'm about to drag this fucking guy out of his truck." I'm like, "Calm down."
Then you pull up next to him, and it's an 80-year-old woman, and you feel just an asshole.
Yeah, got to hit the gym, man. Got to hit the gym.
Yeah.
Next question comes from Larry Davis. What is the origin story behind the nickname Cat Smasher?
So back in the Ultimate Fighter season 1, big surprise, I got real drunk, and in my drunkenness I was talking shit, and it was something like, "Man, I'll fucking smash you cats. I smash cats," and Stephen Bonner started calling me the Cat Smasher, because I kept saying that to him, that I smash cats, and it stuck.
That's fucking awesome. Were you the Crippler before Cat Smasher, or?
No, I don't think so. I was the Crippler after. Just Cat Smasher for a while. Right at the beginning, they called me that, I think, for like my Ultimate Fighter finals fight. They announced me as that, and then after that, I became the Crippler.
It's a fucking great nickname. And the last one I got for you comes from a huge fan of yours, Bob Beauvais. Says, "Can you take a minute to talk about your fight with Otto Olsen at the battle in Seattle? People really should hear this story. It's a great story."
So that's my favorite fight. I have mentioned that before. This was one of my last amateur fights, actually, and Otto, phenomenal athlete, school teacher up there in Washington. He also wrestled for Michigan State. I think his only loss was actually to Josh Koscheck, but he was undefeated going into that fight, and he was he was by far the favorite, pick. And so long story short, fight starts. Otto's kicking the shit out of me, just wrecking me, and I somehow managed to stay alive. Then he puts me in a Superman choke. That's what he called it, his auto guillotine, and if you actually, my friend has a video. So the regular video that's on the internet, you can't quite see it, but my friend has a video. You could see me raise my arm to tap, but then it just falls as I go unconscious. Like, I thought about tapping, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'll just go to sleep," Went to sleep, had a dream in the fight, and then he readjusts. I wake back up, and it's like, "Oh my God, I'm still fighting. What the heck?" I somehow pop up to my feet. I'm falling as I get to my feet. I fall backwards across the cage. And then it as he comes in, very similar to the Terry Martin fight, clipped him. And that was it, man. That was it. He had definitely won that fight, but I lucked out, and he readjusted. The ref didn't see it. And
it's amazing. Do you remember the dream?
I can't offhand. Yeah.
What's funny is like if you had a dream, that like 10-second sleep might have felt like an hour. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
how weird that shit is.
It is
Unbelievable.
It is weird. It was probably only 2 or 3 seconds that that I was totally out. But yeah, you know how time works with that.
Man, that circles back to my whole point about resilience, man. Like I swear to God, there's not too many comeback fighters like yourself, like in the history of the sport. And I appreciate you so much for coming on today. You got a fight against Quentin Henry coming up. I'll let you go, but any predictions on this one? Do you do predictions, or are you just gonna go in there and do your fucking thing?
If you've seen him fight and you've seen me fight, I've got one prediction, and that's that it's gonna start fast.
Okay.
It's gonna start fast and it's gonna end quicker, So and like I'm telling everybody, a little older, so I don't want to talk too much shit, but I'm doing everything in my power to make sure that it's him hitting the canvas, not me. This is my last fight. I want to go out with a bang. I want to get that W, and we're gonna make it happen. Come a week from today.
All right, man. Well, I can't wait to see you live. I'm going to be there. It'll be my first time at a BKFC event live, so I'm really curious to see like how it's a great product on TV, of course, but the live experience must be something else. So
it's great. You're gonna love it.
I cannot wait. So I will go ahead and let you go. But before I let you go, do you have anything you want to say before you go?
No, man. Just if anybody follows, hit me up on Instagram. Do all that social media, blah blah blah.
I put it all at the bottom there for you. I got your Instagram, your Twitter, your YouTube channel, all of it. I got it all there for you, buddy.
Awesome, man. Thank you, sir.
All right. I appreciate you coming on. Good luck on February 5th, and good luck afterwards with the refereeing and everything. I wish you the best of luck, man.
All right. Thanks. We'll talk to you on Friday.
All right. Can't wait. See ya. Bye. That was the Crippler. Holy shit. One of my favorites of all time. That was a true honor, and he is an awesome interview, man. Holy crap. This dude gets choked out, has a dream, wakes up, wins a fight, and I can't win a battle with a 2-year-old. Larry, I know, man. That guy, I told you, he is resilience personified. Like we in the military, we go through all this goddamn resiliency training every month. They say, thank you, Andy. Good shit, Kyle. Looking forward to more of these. I'm going to keep pushing these out for real. But they put us through this resiliency training. You know what they should fucking do? They should play us about 3 or 4 Chris Leben fights during resiliency training. And everybody will learn what it's like to not give up and fucking fight back from the trenches. Because go look his fights up. Go look up the Terry Martin one. Go look up the Otto Olsen one. Go look up the Yoshihiro Akiyama one. Unbelievable, dude. Just, I can't say much more than that. Other than that, thank you guys so much for tuning in in the middle of the day on a Friday. I got to go. I got to take this off. I got to put my uniform back on and head back to work before I get my ass in trouble. You guys tune in next Wednesday when I talk to Christine Faria and Becca Bugnacki. It's going to be a great show. Can't wait for that. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, pay attention to the vlog, whatever the fuck you call it, between me and Mike, heading to Florida on an adventure. Peace.